All right, everybody, welcome back. Afternoon Drive, another edition. Hope everybody is doing well out there. A couple, I don't know, rainy, ugly, humid days to start the week, but we are good now. How about that? Weather is back. We don't need the weather hat, winter hat, even though I'm doing that today. Hope everybody's doing well out there, enjoying the nice weather. I see a lot of people in their pools as I drove through today. That's always good. Summertime, the heart of summer just about here, which is very exciting as we approach the 4th of July and all that stuff halfway through June. Can you believe it? Flying through, and the state of emergency is over in Massachusetts. Wasn't that exciting? Great to see that news. We were listening back to some of the clips of Governor Baker announcing the state of emergency. And I remember being in the newsroom, WBZ newsroom in Boston, listening to that more than a year ago now. And I don't think any of us thought it would be this long. Maybe some of you did. We were certainly all wondering what might happen, but it was kind of crazy to hear those clips again, just the world shutting down and just trying to remember what was going through people's heads. And it was wild, but here we are, coming out of it now, more than a year later. Certainly far too many lives lost, but the good news is we're getting vaccinated here in Massachusetts at a rate higher than the rest of the country. That's good. The people here are doing a good job. I know I am. I know my wife is. I should slip this in every now and then too. My wife is running the Boston Marathon. Applause to her. She's running the Boston Marathon for her school, the New England Center for Children. She works with kids with autism, and she hasn't been on in a while because she said, if you remember at the beginning of the pandemic, she was home all the time, and we kind of did this thing together. She would be at least the intro to our shows a lot. I think our listenership probably went down a lot. Viewership went down a lot when Sarah left because people liked having her on. I did too. But of course, she's been back at school for a while now, which is why you have not seen her too much. We'll bring her on here at some point soon. But yeah, she's running the Boston Marathon for a good cause, raising money. So I just wanted to give her a shout out and a thumbs up. Good job to my wife, Sarah. Keeping it in the kind of athletic world, today is one of those big golf days. One of these big golf weekends is here. I'm going to talk with Jesse Menachem because we just had the Mass Open, the big golf tournament here in the state, Massachusetts Open. And it comes, that finishes up as the U.S. Open picks up. So we got a big golf weekend here coming up with the U.S. Open. So we'll talk to Jesse a little bit about that. Usually have some good Massachusetts flavor. So we'll get into all that stuff as well. And it's a busy time for golf. Oh, and one other thing too in the golf world, completely off my radar. I don't know why. Usually I'm more into this stuff. I did not realize next year's U.S. Open is coming to Brookline, Massachusetts, which is pretty cool. It's right with the Justin Leonard. Remember, made the Ryder Cup putt in 1999 and all that stuff. I was young. I was 12, but I remember watching it with my grandfather and thinking, like, I was never into golf. I would liked playing, but I never would watch golf. And I remember watching that with him, and he was so excited. Ryder Cup, U.S. versus Europe, and he was just so into it. And then it was that great comeback, Justin Leonard capping it off in Boston. All that stuff combined made me become like a big fan of PGA Tour and golf watching at a professional level. I remember watching that with my grandfather. So anyway, Brookline hosting next year's U.S. Open, which I thought was pretty cool and not really on my radar. Tickets actually go on sale this Friday. So I don't know if they can, I don't usually buy those. I don't go to too many professional golf tournaments myself. I don't know how hard they are to get. I would imagine pretty difficult. But if you want to try, here we go. They start to go on sale. We just got that news release out the other day. So anyway, I'm sure some of you will be there. I always end up knowing some people who end up at the golf tournaments. So, and on that being said, we're going to talk some golf today. My guest is the head of Massachusetts Golf, Jesse Menachem. He's been on several times before. I like having him on during these big golf weekends when there's a lot to talk about. And as you can see, we have a lot to talk about today. So we bring in Jesse Menachem. All right, so Jesse Menachem back on the show, head of Mass Golf, joining us from the site of the Mass Open out there in Fitchburg, Oak Hill. Jesse, what a beautiful little spot you're coming to us from. Fantastic.
It is. Thank you. Good to be with you, and just glad the weather's a little better than yesterday.
Yeah, you guys had to battle some early round rain and all that stuff. Back on track, and then, of course, the end of the tournament forecast looks fantastic. That should be good.
Yeah, tomorrow's finish should be great, and we're optimistic that we can get back on track. Today we were able to finish round one early this morning, and we've got round two steady as we speak.
Beautiful. How has the Mass Open gone so far?
It's been tremendous. What an incredible host venue. Oak Hill, they're celebrating their centennial. And in true form, they roll out the red carpet. It's a tremendous celebration. The golf course speaks for itself. Obviously, rich in tradition, but conditions are fantastic and the hospitality is first class.
I saw some, I don't mean to, I saw some great numbers too. Seems like the course is playing a little difficult though.
Yeah, it was at times. I think guys were a little challenged early on. I think low round yesterday was 4 under par, and so far that's holding up pretty well. So they're going to have a good test today, and we'll cut to our low 50 and ties for round 3.
And I know it's funny, it's habit right there. I know you said guys, not just guys this year, right? This was a historic year for you.
It was really special with Sulky Hawley, first female to play in the Mass Open to tee it up. She's a professional over at Winchester Country Club, tremendous ambassador for the game, and we were thrilled that she was exempt for this year's event.
I know she has shot much lower numbers than she shot right out of the gates. And what was her mood? I know that's a lot of pressure there whenever you're breaking barriers like that. What was her mood after the early round?
Yeah, I think she did a feyou interviews with our team, and she was in very good spirits, very complimentary. I'm sure she wanted a better score out of it, and hopefully today she can rebound.
And you guys have all sorts of storylines. I was looking. I think there's some family lines that are happening and all that. Give me some of the fun storylines from this tournament.
Yeah, we've got a few sets of brothers. Initially, we were supposed to have 3 brothers from the same family in the field. One did have to withdraw. We've got the Frody boys, another set of 3 brothers. Patrick Frody, Mass Amateur champion from a couple of years ago, now a reinstated amateur. And, it's just special. It's great to have these types of connections and just a great balance of professional players from the region, from beyond, but also the amateurs that we all know so well.
Any surprises in the field for you, whether it be scores or storylines or anything like that?
I would say just a great balance of different demographics. And, you've got some guys that have been playing in this event for a long time. Andy Morse, past champion. We have Fran Quinn, who's a Worcester native. So this is a little bit of a homecoming for him, breaking the action from the senior tour. Paul Parajakis, another mainstay in this area, professional at Pleasant Valley. And, our top amateurs, your Matt Parzialis of the world. And, it's just a great combination of players, and we're glad to be back because last year this event was not able to take place.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you don't take that for granted anymore, right? I think that's one of those things that we all look back on and say, man, this didn't happen last year.
Absolutely. And to not have this marquee of an event on the calendar, it hurts a little bit. And this is a special one for the Mass Golf ranks. And it's important for the professionals. There's not many professional events up here in the region, and we're proud of the Mass Open, the history, and to provide this opportunity.
You mentioned Parziali's a name I think a lot of people remember because everybody was rooting for him. I think at the Masters, right? A couple of years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, he had won the U.S. Mid-Am and then was invited to the Masters the following year, I believe in 2019.
Yeah, so there's some, needless to say, you know this anyway, but needless to say, there's some serious golf being played out here.
No question. These guys are good. And, I think we'll start to see a little more red numbers today.
How about what about the post-pandemic? Obviously, golf continues to, it's always been there through the pandemic, except for that, for a couple tough months. But it's kind of been the sport that we've been able to get out and play, even when the pandemic was tough. But a lot of the tournaments, though, even you watch on the PGA during the heart of the pandemic, no fans, no noise. Is it kind of, are you feeling that freedom to roam around the course now a little bit more than maybe a couple months ago?
We absolutely are. And I would say this is probably the first normal we felt across the board. The club's done a tremendous job just to prepare for it, but we've got spectators back. We're seeing caddies back in play. And, with Massachusetts, the way things have trended up here the last couple of weeks and months, it's that silver lining. Golf has been very successful, and the momentum continues. And we're seeing incredible numbers for events across the board.
No doubt. Very cool. What makes I don't know, I don't really take a view of the landscape all around the country, but maybe you have. Do you feel like there's something special about the Mass Open? Because I know it's always in my face, whether it be on Twitter. It's a good job by you guys promoting it, but I'm always intrigued by it. I wonder if all the other states have the same kind of well-oiled machine as you guys do.
Yeah, a lot of them do. They're especially up here in the Northeast with the tradition, as we discussed. I think, the venues up here speak for themselves, and we tend to get a great draw. People want to come from all over the region and the country, And that's actually one of the unique things about the Mass Open. It's a true open. So there's no additional conditions or regulations to get in. If you're an amateur or professional golfer and you qualify based on the handicap index, it's a true open in that regard.
I'm sure you're hoping for a big, exciting finish here this year. What's the most exciting one from years past that really sticks with you?
We had a playoff just a couple of years ago. I think it was over at Worcester Country Club. But, really a tight race is what we're looking for. I think the club here is excited to see their course shine. Like I said, I think the last time we were at the Mass Open here, and we had a very competitive finish, and Kyle Gallo was our champion. He's in the field again. So I think we'll see some storylines creep up in the next couple hours.
I often think of the Mayor Menino line that he once said about how, anything west of Boston, like west of Newton, and everybody, of course, what a Western Mass, come on, don't forget about us. You guys are out in Fitchburg, not quite technically Western Mass, but, whatever part of the state you want to refer to it. I don't get too into the geography, but why Fitchburg? It's not necessarily a hub that you might think of when you think of who's hosting the Mass Open.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is actually, I believe it's their 7th time hosting this championship. Wow. So they're up there in the ranks. This course has opened up for major events for a very long time. Celebrating their 100th, they pride themselves in competition and showcasing the venue and being accessible for these types of events. So in the last 10 years, we've hosted now 2 state opens and a state amateur championship. So they embrace it. They really are receptive to it, and just great partners all in.
What do you look for? I mean, I'm sure there's some logistic issues. I'm sure there's like a few things that there's no, you have to have it or you don't to host these things. What are they?
Well, for us, we really want to make sure our events move around and that we're able to touch different parts of the state. So that's important for us. And, for this type of championship, it's about putting the best experience possible out there for the players. And many clubs are able to open their doors to that. It's also about timing. It's about accessibility. So it's all about the relationships that we build and making sure that we're able to create the partnership and the experience for everyone to enjoy.
I always think it's cool, too, when you're hosting one of these big events in a community like this. Like, it kind of brings a good buzz around the community, doesn't it? People are at the coffee shops talking about it, and just it's kind of nice.
Very much. And I think you'll find a lot of that here in the Fitchburg-Leominster area. And I will say, volunteers from the club and from the community, they've come out in droves, and they are entirely supportive of all pieces of the operation.
That's great to hear. Do you get to pick a winner, or in your title, you're not allowed to do that?
Probably not best for me to come out with that choice. But like I said, we've got an awesome field this year, and just great to see the split of professionals and AMs, representing member clubs that are in the state, but even beyond that, I think it's a pretty neat feat. And
it happens to, I just want to shift gears a little bit because this happens where the Mass Open ends, the U.S. Open picks up. I know so many of us get excited about major golf tournaments. Here is another one. What are your thoughts as we lead into the U.S. Open week?
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of buzz. And, I know in California, they're starting to open things up there. So Torrey's going to be a great venue. We always enjoy this week having kind of the back-to-back situation of our Open and then the U.S. Open. We lose a couple players a year, but I think they're going to have a tremendous week. And it's kind of the sneak peek before Brookline, before the Country Club in 2022. So we are all in. We're excited and looking forward to that.
I want to ask you a couple Brookline questions in a minute too. But when you say you lose a couple players, that means you lose a couple to that tournament, which is kind of cool in its own right?
Exactly. Yeah. So players that may have qualified or exempt for the Mass Open. U.S. Open sectionals is always the week prior. So I think it was a week ago yesterday where the longest day in golf, U.S. Open sectionals took place, and 2 players in our field ended up getting through. So it's great to have local representation. They're missed here, but great opportunity for them.
Who are they? You can name drop a little bit if you'd like.
Yeah, we have, I think it was Zach Zabak and Jimmy Herval from Hopkinton. So 2 Yukon players, actually.
2 Huskies.
2 Huskies, yeah.
Very good. What do you know about them? Have you had some walking experience with them on the course, or not?
Yeah, Zach, I believe, grew up in Connecticut. So we ran into him occasionally on the regional level, a New England event here and there. Jimmy grew up playing in Mass Golf events. He won our junior amateur. He represented us on our New England regional team. So we've been able to follow his career for quite some time. And I think he's a couple years in now as a professional and doing very well.
Put me in the shoes, your shoes, your Mass Open's in the books, successful tournament. Do you just turn to these guys and start watching them on that leaderboard for the U.S. Open, pull for the local guys and see what's going on?
No question. Yeah, I mean, you work in the industry, the U.S. Open's at the top of that list. So, being so closely affiliated with the U.S. golf, it's important to keep a pulse on that. And I'm a fan, just as much as a golf administrator.
And of course, the fans got to see Phil Mickelson win the last major. I feel like that kind of put a little nice life into the. I mean, not that it needed it, but it kind of felt cool to see Phil win again. Oh, still with me there, Jesse?
It is, yeah.
I'm
sorry, we're breaking up a little bit. Yeah.
This is what's happening. This is the things must be getting busy at the Fitchburg Golf Course when that happens.
I think more people on the Wi-Fi all of a sudden. I think I heard being in the field. I think it's great for the game. Brings a fantastic dynamic and just a public face. So I think it's a home game for him, which will be fun. But yeah, great player for their field.
And so let's talk about the Brookline field a little bit, because I actually said at the beginning of the show in the intro that it was a little bit off my radar. I think there's just been a lot going on in the world. Usually I would be right on that Brookline is hosting next year's U.S. Open, but I wasn't. It hit me like a week or two ago, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. 2022. That's like going to be so exciting for everybody involved in mass golf.
We're thrilled for the U.S. Open next year at Brookline. The club is absolutely prepared. I think obviously the pandemic being in play, it probably wasn't as much on the radar, but all of a sudden there's just a ton of momentum, a ton of interest. I know ticket sales are starting to come about. So volunteer signups have been through the roof. I know corporate hospitality as well. There's been a ton of interest for that. So it's going to be a tremendous championship next year in June.
Yeah, tickets, I think we just got the release go on sale Friday. I would imagine that is a pretty difficult ticket to get if I had to guess. Pretty difficult ticket to get, Jesse, I was saying.
Yeah, it probably will be. There's going to be a lot of demand. We haven't had a tour event here in a couple of years, or excuse me, this year. So I think there will be a ton of interest from that Boston fan base.
We all remember the Ryder Cup, one of my favorite moments watching TV as a kid.
That's right. Never forget it. 1999.
Justin Leonard makes the big putt. You remember where you were?
I was a young guy at that moment, but through my father and some family, they had some pretty incredible experiences with that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Jesse Menachem, good luck here bringing the rest of the Mass Open home. I know you're literally stepping away from the golf course to talk to us, so we really appreciate the time, and get back to it. Enjoy the finish. Hopefully it's a great finish as always.
Thanks so much. And to anybody, feel free to come on out for the final round tomorrow, Wednesday. And I really appreciate the time, Drew.
All right. We'll see you, Jesse. All right. There you go. Jesse Menachem. From Fitchburg, right where they're having the Mass Open right now, which is very exciting. It's funny, man. He was telling me too, and we'll try to maybe patch a little bit up to make it easier on the there were a couple delays in there, and he was telling me it's getting very busy here. I think a lot of people are checking scores throughout the course, and basically the Wi-Fi at the Fitchburg Golf Course is getting used like crazy. And that's literally where he is. He's walking the course right now for the final round of this tournament. So Jesse Menachem, good of him to take a few minutes and jump on to the show. And we really appreciate him doing that every time he comes on the show. So Jesse Menachem, good man, taking a few minutes away. And we really appreciate it here for Afternoon Drive, talking golf, little preview of the U.S. little talk of the Mass Open final round, little preview of the U.S. Open, which is just going to be fantastic. We love talking golf, and a little preview of Brookline in a couple of years. So there you go. And yeah, as he mentioned right at the beginning, he's very excited about golf in Massachusetts in general. The sport is booming right now, so that is good. I love it. Go take a lesson if you're not into it. You might love the game. I sure do. All right. Live at Drew's house, another edition. Peace.